good morning.
Good morning and welcome to Media Pulse, the show where we help you make sense of Thai politics. And this week, of course, there's a lot to make sense of.
Definitely. I guess from this point on, our audiences will need to get used to hearing the term 2001 MOU.
Yes.
Because this has become one of the hottest topics in the past 1 week. And is most likely to be so for the next few weeks or even months. Yeah.
And in Thai, it's called MOU44 based on the Buddhist year.
Yes, right.
But anyway.
It is a reference to the so-called Memorandum of Understanding signed in 2001 between Thailand and Cambodia to pave the way for the two countries to negotiate over what is known as the area of overlapping claims in the Gulf of Thailand, which is supposed to hold hundreds of billions of US dollars worth of energy resources. And the two countries are supposed to have begun negotiations long time ago so that some kind of a joint exploration of the areas to extract these energies could take place. But so far it has been put on hold because of internal problems within Thailand also. And it looks like there's no common ground between Thailand and Cambodia to resume the talks.
Yeah, it is a very contentious issue, and the current government is being accused of selling out the nation with this negotiation that goes on, which is weird because they've been in office for less than 3 months and now being accused of selling out the nation.
No, but somehow the government and the Pheu Thai party in particular has been at the receiving end of the ongoing debate on the issue, and it promises to certainly keep haunting the Phai Thong Tan government and Pheu Thai party for some time to come.
Yeah, so let's take a look at some headlines actually. So these are the headlines that basically reflect the emotions centering on contents of the so-called MOU that we talked about Thailand and Cambodia.
And this headline says that, the one that you just saw, that if we concede Kok Gut or Gut Island, that will be tantamount to selling the country.
Yeah, and the Gut Island is an island, a beautiful island that is included in the overlapping area or whatever, but it's definitely Thai's because it belongs to Thailand. Yeah,
this
has
one
always been.
Says that the issue of Gut Island could spell an end to the government.
Yeah, yeah. So it raises the question as if we're losing the island, and yeah, this one talks about dividing Gut Island, the natural resources under the sea.
I see. So all these headlines certainly reflect the emotions centering on the contents of the so-called MOU, the 2001 MOU. And as we just mentioned, that is a memorandum of understanding between Thailand and Cambodia that was supposed to be a stepping stone for talks to settle the overlapping territorial claims in the energy-rich Gulf of Thailand. The Thai government insists that the MOU is the best platform for the two countries to negotiate demarcation and the joint exploration of the hydrocarbon resources in the disputed area.
Yeah, but critics are not happy about it. Like political activists, academics, and opposition politicians argue that the MOU, this MOU we see here, puts Thailand in a disadvantageous position. And if it goes through, it would be tantamount to selling the country's interests, leading to a loss of territory and sovereignty. Those are very strong words.
No, it now has been more than 2 decades since the two countries adopted the MOU. I think the issue is that the document ties together the border delimitation and resources sharing into what is described as an indivisible package. So that means that these two issues need to be negotiated as a package.
Which makes it complicated.
That's true. You cannot start talking about the delimitation of the sea areas first, or you cannot start with the other aspects of the memorandum first. So you need to start talking on these two issues together as a package now.
So the MOU was signed during the tenure of the former Prime Minister Thaksin, right, who is known for his cozy ties with Cambodia's leader back then.
And signing on behalf of the Thai government was Kun Surukhet Sathien-Thai, the foreign minister at the time.
Yes. So the MOU has triggered such an outcry. So we'll come back to that a bit later on, but roughly the island that we're talking about and the area is about 26,000 square kilometers along the borders that is filled with an estimated 10 trillion baht worth of natural gas and oil. That's a lot of money. And that's according to energy experts' estimates. So for decades, the area was left unexplored because of the two countries, they have been unable to come to an agreement.
No, the ongoing debate on the issues has less to do with the two countries' relationship. But it has more to do with the disputes among Thais, the various sectors of the Thai society. And at the crux of the ongoing debate among these different groups of Thai people is the status of Good or Gok Good, a good island in the Trat province in the Gulf of Thailand. Critics of the MOU fear that there is a possibility of the island being conceded to Cambodia, something that the Patchimanon government is working very hard to deny.
So that's weird because that's why top government officials have come out to say that this shouldn't be a concern in the beginning, and the Prime Minister actually insisted that the island is a Thai territory and will never be given up for negotiation. And it has always been under Thai jurisdiction.
But there are certain parts in the MOU that have given rise to such concerns. The critics of the MOU claim that its contents could be interpreted as Thailand recognition of Cambodia's claim on the island.
But the government is trying to base their argument on the Franco-Siamese Treaty of 1907, right? That gave Gok Good or Good Island to Thailand. And besides, they point out the fact that the tourist island, which is about 322 kilometers from Bangkok, has always been under Thai administration with the status of district of That province.
So Deputy Prime Minister and Defense Minister Phumtham Thepchai has come out to blast critics for stoking fears of Thailand's losing Gok Good Island. He blamed what he described as ultra-nationalists for politicizing the issue.
Phumtham was referring to academics, right, from former senators and politicians as well, who have urged the Patchimanon government to scrap the MOU, which they claim could lead to Cambodia's claiming ownership over the island.
And also actively campaigning against the MOU are members of the so-called network of students and people reforming Thailand, a collection of loyalists and activists who demand transparency in the government's handling of the overlapping claims area. And the same group of activists have been holding rallies against what they see as the special treatment given to former Prime Minister Thaksin, as we know, who was allowed to serve out his jail term at the police hospital without having to spend a single day behind bars after being convicted on corruption charges. And we come back to that later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that story as well. So the ongoing issue about the territorial claims has also given rise to the question of whether or not the MOU can be or should be scrapped.
The Prime Minister Patchimanon has insisted that Thailand cannot unilaterally revoke the MOU as it would trigger a legal issue with Cambodia.
Yeah, but the critics argue that the MOU is not legally binding, is a memorandum of understanding.
As you can see that the ongoing debate is now among Thais, not with our neighbors.
In fact, it was the government under Prime Minister Abhisit Vejjajiva they did try to have the MOU nullified, and at the time it was more of a political decision than anything else, according to the foreign minister of the time, Kun Kasit Pirom, right?
It's very interesting that Kun Kasit Pirom, the former foreign minister, what he told Thai BBS, he said that the move to try to have the MOU scrapped unilaterally by Thailand was in response to then Cambodia Prime Minister Hun Sen's appointment of Thaksin Shinawatra as economic advisor.
Which is a totally different issue.
That's right. And Thaksin then had already been in self-exile after having been ousted as Prime Minister in a coup d'etat in 2006.
The opposite government obviously sort of saw that Thaksin appointment was a slap in the face.
Yeah, and the relationship between Thailand and Cambodia back then was not very good, very low. And at that point, Hun Sen also offered Thaksin political asylum, and ignoring an extradition treaty that the two countries had.
So Thaksin was wanted after being convicted on corruption charges in absentia in Thailand, right? And he ran away, spent some time over around the world, globe-trotting, and then landed in Cambodia.
No, in his interview with Thai PBS, Kun Kasit, the former foreign minister, described Thaksin's appointment by Hun Sen as an advisor to the Cambodian government as a terrible and unfriendly move. And he said it was also seen as an interference in Thailand's domestic affairs by Cambodia.
Yeah, it can be interpreted that way, isn't it?
So the opposition government at that time was, he said, according to Kun Kasit, was left with no choice but to show its displeasure with what happened. And this is what Kasit had to say about the incident. We had to make it clear that we were not happy with Thaksin's appointment. And that's why the opposition government moved to try to have the MOU scrapped.
So was the message sent? I guess that it was sent quite clearly. However, in the end, the move did not go through because, according to Kun Kasit, the decision was never ratified by Parliament as constitutionally required if it was to take effect. So Prime Minister Abhisit, who was then under mounting political pressure, he dissolved the House before the issue went to the legislature.
And this leads us to the question why the Paetongtarn government's handling of the 2001 MOU is causing such an alarm among its critics.
Because, the person who's calling the shot is none other than her father in the Thepchai party, right?
Yeah. And Hun Sen's appointment of Thaksin as economic advisor in 2009 was certainly a very good testimony of the close ties between the two, right? And in another sign of his support for the former Thai leader, Hun Sen in April 2012 allowed Thaksin and his red shirt supporters from Thailand to celebrate Songkran Water Festival in Siem Reap.
Yeah, and you know what attracted the most attention when Thaksin and his sister, the former Prime Minister Ying Shinawatra, they went to Phnom Penh in August last year to celebrate Hun Sen's birthday. It was this picture, the two families.
Yeah. And a few days later, Thaksin flew back to Thailand, ending his almost 20 years in self-exile. But that was not the end of the story yet. When Thaksin was discharged from the police hospital in February this year, after being granted a parole, Hun Sen made a much publicized visit to the former Thai leader at his residence. And,
yeah, we do remember that. This picture here in August.
And in his Facebook post, Hun Sen described his relationship with Thaksin as that of brothers and touted what he said was their 32 years friendship.
So this kind of relationship between the two former leaders has raised concern among critics of Thaksin and the Thai party. And in a sign that the Thai government will press ahead with negotiations under the MOU despite critics' concern, Prime Minister Paetongtarn has said that she will appoint Thai members of the Joint Technical Committee in 2 weeks' time to resume talks with their Cambodian counterparts.
And when she was asked whether Defense Minister Phumtham would be made the chief of the Thai representatives to the committee, she refused to make any commitment. She did not deny or confirm the speculation.
Yeah.
The Joint Technical Committee is required under the MOU to, among other things, to draw up basis for sharing of costs and benefits of the exploitation of hydrocarbon resources in the joint development area that will take place. It will also draw up delimitation of the territorial sea, continental shelf, and exclusive economic zones.
So this is where they start talking about two things concurrently, meaning the demarcation and the natural resources. Okay. Meanwhile, people in Kok Gut, they have been rather surprised by the ongoing dispute that involves the status of the famous tourist island, because all they know is that the island has always been a Thai territory.
And the immediate fallout from the publicity over this issue is a visible drop in the number of visitors to the island, according to the Tourism Association.
Yeah, again, we need to reiterate that as far as Thailand is concerned, there has never been a question whether or not Kok Gut or Gut Island, which is a district of Trat province, is an integral part of the country. So it has always been under Thailand's territory, and people have been, if you go there, you don't need passport stamps or anything. So it's within in Thailand.
According to the president of the Tourism Association, the dispute or the ongoing debate on this dispute has led to a 30% drop in hotel bookings on the island, which is famous for its beautiful beaches, rich mangrove forest, and coral reefs.
Which is a curious thing, isn't it? The news come out, but yeah, it affects tourism. I hope it recovers soon.
Yeah, but footnote, today, Kun Phumtham, the defense minister, will be visiting Gut Island, Kok Gut. And the idea is to make a symbolic gesture to reaffirm Thailand's ownership of the island, and to give moral support to local people that don't be worried. I mean, this is Thailand's territory. Nobody going to take it away from you. And another interesting and related development is that this issue, we cannot say that it has not been politicized, because Palang Pracharat, which is one of the major opposition parties, is using it as a new issue to attack the Pheu Thai-led government. According to Kun Phaiboon Nititawan, who is the Secretary General of the Palang Pracharat Party, the party leader, General Pravit Wongsuwan, he has been absent from the news headline for quite a while, right? But he's now
as
back.
well as parliamentary meetings.
Now he's back in the headlines. So Kun Phaiboon quoted General Pravit as having told the party's executives and MPs to make all efforts to have the controversial MOU scrapped, and in quotes, to defend the country's territorial sovereignty. But the irony is that Kun Clare and whoever is watching, that General Pravit was once the chief representative of Thailand in the Joint Technical Committee under the MOU. But according to Kun Phaiboon, General Pravit back then wasn't aware that the MOU could be that problematic. So now he realizes that it's very problematic, so he's taking a step back and saying that, well, we don't need this MOU anymore.
It needs to be scrapped. It needs to be scrapped now. I made a mistake. I shouldn't have negotiated it.
All right. I'm sure next week we'll come back with progress or lack of progress on this issue.
Yeah. Well, another news story that has been on the radar of the Thai media this week is the case of Thaksin and his prison term, as well as the investigation into his role in the Pheu Thai party. So as we all know, he served his sentence on the 14th floor of the Police General Hospital without spending a day in jail, right? And back then, in August 2023, people raised question about how that was legally possible. Like, was he really ill, or what medical treatment did he receive, or did he receive any kind of special consideration from the Department of Corrections? And over a year on, we're now in 2024, at the end of 2024 now, these questions are not going away.
It still remains one of the biggest political puzzles.
Yes, and it's even being talked about even more because one of his old political ally, we're talking about the Police General Seripisut Themiawet, who filed a petition about Thaksin with the NACC, so the National Anti-Corruption Commission, a few months ago, and he made a press conference as well. So he talked about first of all, the reason that he filed the petition, remember old friends turns foe, his party, Seri Room Thai, did not get any post in the Pathongtan government, so he was upset.
Yeah, that was the reason to explain the fallout between the two former bigwigs.
Yeah, so late August last year, he said he had been loyal to Thaksin for almost 51 years. He's been following orders and assisting him with many issues, but his party had not been rewarded with any position in the government. So, Police General Seripisut claims that he has evidence to prove that he met Thaksin while he was in at the hospital. Yeah.
It was a sort of he claimed that what you just saw on the screen.
Yeah.
The conversation through the line application between him and someone representing Thaksin, talking about how and when he could go and visit Thaksin, and he cited that as a very important piece of evidence to show that after all, I mean, Thaksin was not that restricted in meeting people while he was recuperating from at the police hospital.
Yeah, we need to note that, you know, as a prisoner serving his prison term, he's not supposed to meet anyone from outside, although he's in the hospital, not in jail. But anyway, so the case went to the NACC, and fast forward to this week, there were reports about how the NACC did not receive the due cooperation in the process that they were trying to investigate for more information about how Thaksin spent his time on the 14th floor at the hospital. So the NACC actually asked for Thaksin's medical record 3 times, but did not receive it. And the hospital and other people involved cited PDPA, which is the Personal Data Protection Act.
Yeah. And it looks like this issue has become one of the topics that the Prime Minister, Kun Pathongtan, has to face every day when meeting reporters.
Exactly. She even talked to the media about it. She emphasizes with the media that the government will not interfere with the request for Thaksin's medical records from the NACC, and that she's willing to cooperate with the investigation in due process. And she's not worried about how this will affect her image when she represents Thailand on international stage, because she's going to Peru for the APEC meeting as well.
Okay, the so-called Floor 14 scandal has also caught the attention of one of the House committees.
Yeah.
Right? The House committee, whose name is rather long, is officially known as the House Committee on State Security, Border Affairs, National Strategy and Reforms. So everything under the sky is under the could be considered to be under the scrutiny of this House Committee.
Comprehensive, yes.
And the committee is headed by one of the most energetic MPs of the People's Party, Kun Rangsiman, right? And the House Committee believes that the so-called Floor 14 scandal is important enough to warrant its scrutiny. So what happened?
So, Floor 14 scandal. Yeah. So basically, he raised 3 basic questions, I think.
So also on Thursday, right, just a few days ago, the House Committee summoned a number of people supposedly involved in the case to testify. And among them were representatives from the Corrections Department, which look after the country's prisons, and the police hospital.
Yeah.
So to talk about the three questions that the House Committee wanted to raise. So what are the three questions?
Okay, the three questions. The first one is whether Thaksin's treatment at the police hospital was justified. And number two is who authorized Thaksin's prolonged stay at the police hospital, and was the decision legally and medically justified? And thirdly, what are the legal complications arising from Thaksin's discharge from the police hospital, after which he went home straight away without having to spend a single day behind bars, despite the jail term imposed on him? Because usually when a prisoner is released, they are released from the correctional facilities, not the hospital.
But he went straight from the police hospital back to his residence.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
So, but it appears that the House Committee, after hours of intense questioning, got little new information from the testimony, despite, a lot of questions being put to these people from the corrections department and the police hospital.
Yeah.
So what the House Committee heard was that the last person who tended to Thaksin while he was still in detention was not a doctor, but some nurses.
Right.
And Thaksin was never transferred to the prison hospital for further medical examination after complaining of chest pains and erratic, blood pressure, which should be a normal procedure, right? When a prisoner falls sick and needs some kind of emergency treatment while in prison, he or she should be transferred to the prison hospital.
It's also common sense. I mean, if you're sick and you need an emergency medical treatment, you go to the nearest hospital.
So in short, Kun Rangsiman Rome, he chaired the hearing, right? And after that he came out to give reporters a briefing, a summary of what went on in those few hours of questioning. So Kun Rangsiman was suggesting that the decision to send Kun Thaksin, the former Prime Minister, to the police hospital was based on recommendation of nurses, as doctors were not known to be present at that time.
Right. Also in the testimony, the director of the prison hospital insisted that nurses were qualified to make a decision as to whether a patient needed immediate emergency treatment. So he said that there were no doctors on duty after the office hours, so nurses had to make decision to send him to the hospital.
And what is interesting is that the testimony by the former deputy chief of the police hospital, who the House Committee believes should be in the best position to shed some light on the circumstances surrounding Kun Thaksin's stay at the medical facility, that is the police hospital, turned out to be of very little help. Because Police Major General Solawut Lau Ratana Warapong, the deputy chief of the police hospital at the time, said that during the time of Thaksin's treatment at the police hospital, he, meaning the former deputy chief of the hospital, he said he was on leave and was also in the process of requesting an early retirement.
Oh.
So he was ignorant of what was going on with Thaksin.
Oh, he's a very important political figure, but he was not paying attention.
No, he was busy. He was busy
with his retirement
plan. Writing letters to request an early retirement. So he had no time to look around and see what was happening on floor 14.
Yeah, he said he'd never go up to floor 14 as
he
well.
said he never went up to floor 14 throughout the time that Thaksin was there. So in short, he was saying that he knew nothing about the whole affair. So don't ask me, because I was busy trying to enjoy planning my retirement.
Looking forward to his retirement. So the crucial question remains unanswered, I think, according to Rangsiman Rome. And so we are still wondering, and we haven't got answers as to whose decision it was to send Thaksin to the hospital and for him to continue to receive his treatment there.
And according to Kun Rangsiman, there was obviously a constant passing of the buck between the police hospital and the corrections department, because regarding the decision made for Thaksin to continue staying at the police hospital. The question, as you just mentioned, the question was very crucial.
Yep.
Who made the decision?
Yeah.
And in fact, because that was the time he was supposed to have spent behind bars, right?
Yes.
But he was
About 6
allowed to,
months.
almost 6 months.
Yeah.
And he was allowed to continue, claiming to recuperating at the police hospital.
Yeah.
So that was certainly the passing of a buck between the police hospital and the corrections department, because the officials of the corrections department said that it's up to the doctors at the police department to decide whether he can continue to stay or not. But the doctors at the police hospital said that it's up to the corrections department to decide.
Right. So was there anything new learned by the committee? I guess not much.
Not really. If you listen to what Kun Rangsiman had to say. But what is important is that one very crucial witness who was invited to the hearing but did not turn up was the former police chief, Police General Selipisut Temiyawet. We just mentioned about it, that he was the one who really let the cat out of the bag, right, by saying that he was allowed to see Thaksin.
Yep.
And in fact, he should be in the best position to really shed more light on the issue. But he did not turn up at the hearing, despite the invitation.
Well, to be fair, he did not show up to meet the parliamentary committee because he said Thaksin's people from Thepchai is also on the committee. That's what he said.
Okay.
So he doesn't want to go and reveal too much
No,
information.
he claimed that he has supplied whatever evidence he has to the National Counter-Corruption Commission. So there is no need for him to speak to any other agencies about this issue.
And in terms of Prime Minister Paetongtarn, do you think because are there conflicts of interest there? Because by title, the Prime Minister also looks after the Royal Thai Police.
I think that is very clear. I mean, there's no question about conflict of interest because what we are witnessing this day is something unprecedented in Thai political history anyway.
Yeah. So apart from Thaksin's hospital stay, the Pheu Thai party is also facing another investigation about whether or not the former Prime Minister has a crucial role in deciding what the party does, or this is referring to political party interference accusations.
In fact, this has been a common knowledge that the person who really calls the shots in the Pheu Thai party is none other than Kun Thaksin.
But if found guilty, this could lead to party dissolution.
Okay, that legally speaking, of course, the party will need to answer a lot of questions about Thaksin's so-called overdue influence over the party's decision-making process.
Yeah, actually this week, Kun Chusak-Sirinin, the minister to the Prime Minister's office, talked to the media, and he said that he went to see the Attorney General about it, and then he gave some information on the investigation as well. Yeah.
All right, so we can be sure that the next few months we'll see Kun Paetongtarn, the Prime Minister, and Pheu Thai party busy fending off all these charges.
Remember,
having less time to concentrate on the real issue facing the country.
He has to be overseas doing meetings. Remember the lawyer who started all this, Kun Thirayut Suwanngaesorn? He was actually the same lawyer that started the case about the MOU44 party dissolution, right. Remember? So he didn't fail that time.
So he does have a good track record.
He's experienced. So we must continue to observe the developments in Thai politics, and we'll be sure to bring it to you again next Saturday.
Okay, see you next Saturday.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.